Hi everybody, I just want to do a video here. I want to talk about the horse racing industry, and the very dark side of it is the slaughter annually of thousands of beautiful young race horses that are no longer good to these people, that can no longer make profit, that are sent to abattoirs and slaughterhouses, which is horrific. And I just want to say about the horse racing industry that in Ireland it's worth 2.46 billion. So that's an awful amount of money. And just thinking that when these race horses are no longer profitable for these people, that they're just disposed of like trash, basically. You might hear the odd good story where, a horse gets rehomed, but, they are, few and far between. We have to be realistic here now. Most of these horses are going to horse abattoirs and they're going to slaughterhouses where they're kept in absolutely horrific, and I mean horrific, conditions. And I will tell you there later, there's plenty of sites that you can go on and you can see YouTube videos, you can see these slaughterhouses, you can see the conditions for yourself. You'll see lots of horses that are injured, they're sick. Some of these horses, they can't even stand, they're emancipated, their bones are sticking out, they have cuts, they have infections. You can see these are very unwell and sick horses. A lot of these horses are not getting fed properly, they're not getting proper even access to water. And it's absolutely horrific, and something needs to be done about this. It's absolutely horrific. But I just want to say to you about a report that was done in the Irish Mirror, where they said that 538 Irish race horses slaughtered in England, in the English abattoirs last year, that would be in 2024. But 919 were slaughtered at Shannonside Foods in 2024 before its closure, and it closed in June in 2024. And we all know about Shannonside Foods and just the absolute horrific animal cruelty that was going on there with the horses, between beaten horses. We saw them being beat with pipes, they were kicking horses, they were sticking pitchforks into horses, they had horse carcasses and they were just dragging them along the ground. It was absolutely horrific, and we know that was only the tip of the iceberg. That was just what that camera caught in that time. Now, can you imagine what's going on there long term? Absolutely horrific that that was happening. Now, thank God it is closed, but the prosecutions for the animal cruelty as of date, I don't even know if anyone has been prosecuted for animal cruelty. I know there was a prosecution for fraud, I suppose with microchipping and stuff like that, but I don't think, as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong, I don't think there's been any prosecution for animal cruelty, which is shocking, very shocking. But just to go down through this now, there was 256 Irish horses that ended up in French abattoirs. Okay, just to say that these are the countries where horse meat would be like a delicacy. It would be Italy, Holland, Switzerland and Belgium. And then the countries where horse meat is more commonly ate then would be China, Russia, Mexico, Argentina and Japan. So to think that a lot of this horse meat that's ending up on people's plates, these would have been race horses. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad indeed. And just another report done by Animal Aid then is that 317 horses with racing industry passports were sent to slaughter in England from January to May of this year, 2025, and obtained by an FOI, Freedom of Information Act. 303 had Irish passports, which is quite shocking as well. Just as well to cover as well that the BBC did do a very good documentary as well. It was the BBC Panorama investigation, again into the horse racing industry and what was happening to these beautiful racehorses. They said that 4,000 racehorses slaughtered in England and Ireland since 2019, 4,000. They also said that most, but not all, were trained in Ireland. And it captured dozens of former racehorses being slaughtered. The majority were from Ireland and the majority of them were young horses. This is very, very sad. Just want to say as well, just to give out a shout out to people that are exposing all this and that are doing very good work. You have on Facebook Horse Racing Exposed. You also have on Facebook Ban Blood Sports, which is our own Irish Facebook group. They are doing fantastic work with all ranges of animal cruelty here in Ireland. You also have got Animals Angels Inc. they're brilliant as well. They're over in America, and I think the lady that runs this group is originally from Germany, but they're doing fantastic work, absolutely fantastic work. And I just want to recommend as well a video for people to watch. Now, by all means, it's going to be a hard watch, but I still recommend watching it. It's called Platinum Tickets Final Ride. It is so, so sad. It's just the story of this beautiful racehorse, and its whole journey, you know, when it was in its prime and it was winning races, to where it got injuries and then it was sold on, then it was a jump horse, and then it was sold on again. And this beautiful racehorse ended up then in what they call the kill pens, where they're just kept before they are slaughtered, and it's absolutely horrific the condition that this horse was in. This once, you know, beautiful racehorse, it had a gunshot wound in its head, and it was all infected, and the horse, it just looked in such poor condition, and you could just see even in its eyes that this beautiful animal was dead inside, just for the, you know, the treatment. And they do a whole investigation into it. I highly recommend watching that. And not only that as well, but they have a YouTube channel as well, and it's called Animal Angels USA, and they have some fantastic work done there, again exposing the horse racing industry and all these beautiful young race horses that are being sent to these horrific deaths, to these slaughterhouses. And I'm telling you people, it is horrific. It's not easy to watch these videos, but people need to know what's happening to these beautiful horses. And if you just see the conditions of these horses, and you will see horses just that can't stand, you know, you will see horses that they're so emancipated, bones sticking out everywhere. You know, they have infections, they're seriously sick, unwell horses. And the thing what happens in these kill pens, a lot of the time they don't feed them, and they're not even getting access to water, like, you know, basic needs. They don't get veterinary care, because what happens is those horses, they are worth little to nothing. They're actually worth more when they kill them for the meat. So before they're getting killed, they've no interest in these animals. They're just absolutely disposable to them. It's just, it's so sad. It's absolutely horrific. And I just want to show you a picture as well. And I think, you know, a picture can speak 1,000 words, as they say, and how true is that? So I'm not going to show too much, lads, but I just want you just to take a look at this picture and just see in this beautiful horse just the sadness and in its eyes. Like, people's eyes can tell a lot, but just take a look at this picture, and it really is horrific. And I hope that you can see it here now. If you can see that there, just that picture, that there is a beautiful horse that was once a racehorse, or maybe it was a racehorse that just didn't, you know, make the mark, couldn't run fast enough, couldn't make, you know, enough money for these people. And this is where this beautiful horse ends up, in a horse abattoir, in a horse slaughterhouse. Now please, people, please tell me, you know, we can do better than this, you know, and there has to be accountability for this. You know, this is horrific. Like, I mean, that's even a milder version of a photo that I'm showing. Some of the photos, like, they're there, lads. All, like, if you go online, it's all there. Some of the photos, you just, when you look at them, you just don't look at them late at night even, because you won't sleep. Like, they're just so graphic. Like, the animal cruelty, what they're doing to these beautiful animals is absolutely horrific. You know, and shame, shame, shame on the horse racing industry. You know, they're always trying to go around and make it look, you know, glamorous with their, you know, racing events and the best dress and the hats and the champagne flowing. But behind the scenes, like, this is what's going on. So, you know, be careful what you support as well, because this is horrific. Like, this is absolutely horrific. This is what's going on behind the scenes, you know. All these horses, you know, and it's all great when they're making money. You know, when they're making money, they're all about them, you know. But at the end of the day, it's a business, people. And when they can no longer make profit, they're disposed of. And don't let anyone else, you know, fool you and tell you otherwise, because, you know, you only have to look at the numbers. And the numbers coming out of Ireland are horrific, you know, absolutely just horrific. The numbers coming out of Ireland as well. So I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, there's an awful lot to talk about with the horse racing industry, the animal cruelty, the corruption. It is such a complex, and it's like opening up a Pandora box because there's so much going on, and I want to keep the video short and just focus tonight on these beautiful horses and the horse abattoirs and the slaughterhouses. And you know, people need to be aware of this. So I think it's very important to share these videos out and get people talking about this, because there's not enough people talking about this. This is what the problem is, and we want to just educate people. You know, a lot of people are going to horse racing events too, and they think, you know, it's all happy clappy and, you know, there's nothing sinister going on here. But you have to understand the industry that you're supporting. You know, it's like, you know, the greyhound industry. They are similar. You know, animals are used and abused, and they're so disposable in this industry, so disposable, and there's so much animal cruelty, and people need to be aware of that. And it's all about educating people, and that's why I'm making this video. As I said, there's a lot more to talk about, but I want to keep the videos short. I don't want to keep them too long, and as I said, I just want to focus on the slaughterhouses and the abattoirs on this one. So that's it. It's a very somber video, and it is, but at the end of the day, it's truth and it's reality, and it's a subject that needs to be talked about because it's not getting talked about. But don't forget, people, please check out those sites that I told you about. They're very good and they're doing fantastic work, so check those out. And I'm just trying to think about anything else to say. One other thing as well. I just want to say as well, just out of respect, that there was a YouTuber that passed away, and her name was, I hope I'm pronouncing her name properly now, Michaela Rain, and she was doing fantastic work for the foxes, Save a Fox Rescue, and just want to remember her tonight. God rest her soul. And just thinking of all her family, her husband, her daughter, and all her family, and just remembering her for all the work that she done with the animals, particularly the foxes, and saving so many foxes. Just want to remember her tonight. So like, subscribe, share, be the voice for the voiceless. Just think of that horse that I showed you that picture of, and the end that horse had made. These horses, they have no voice, and if we as people don't speak up for these horses, well then, what's going to be their future and their fate? You know, we have to call this out. It's horrific animal cruelty, and race horses, they don't deserve this. You know, they deserve a lot better. So thank you. That's it for tonight. As I said, like, subscribe and share, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.